Uh-oh. Did you throw it in the deck?
Yeah, it just disappeared under the deck. Oh well. Short of pulling up the boards. I will retrieve that at some point, but not right now.
And can you retrieve my pieces of my games
No.
too?
That's a lot more screws. Maybe. We'll see. So this is heads. And this is tails. This is Friday, the 8th of June.
Are
Earlier,
you sure it's 8?
or the 7th. Maybe
It's
it's
7th.
the 7th.
It's June 7.
Okay, Friday, June 7th, 2019. This morning we went to look at a property for lease on Shaw's Creek Road. Actually, right across the street from the Good Lot Brewing Company. And just down the road from Whole Village. The property is owned by a local real estate mogul by the name of Shane Bagai, who also wears another hat as an ecological farmer that produces top quality grass-fed, hormone-free, antibiotic-free beef. I've been living in this area for 20 years and I'm quite familiar with Mr. Bagai's enterprises. This property is a house and grounds, some outbuildings. Everything is quite beautiful. And it would be entirely suitable for us as our next residence. For us and our animals and our children and our friends and relations and acquaintances.
And we would have instant community there. Instant community.
We toured the property with an agent that works for Mr. Bagai, and we were very enthusiastic, and we were quite clear to the agent that we would need to talk to Mr. Bagai face to face, personally, before we would proceed any further. After we left the property, I spoke to Mr. Bagai on the phone, and we set up an appointment for 5 o'clock today on his adjacent property just up the road from the one that we would be leasing, which is his summer residence.
So we would be like direct neighbors.
Yes.
So they are very invested in the relationship as well. There is an internal driveway from one to the next.
They're managed as one farm currently. I'm wearing my project manager's hat, and that's the spirit in which we're approaching our meeting. So this is June 7th, 2019. And I can regale Mr. Bagai with tales of my 2 journeys through Iran. He's Iranian.
Oh, fantastic.
So what we have here is hexagram number 28, preponderance of the great. The hexagram represents a beam that is thick and heavy in the middle but too weak at the ends. This is a condition that cannot last. It must be changed, must pass or misfortune will result. The judgment, preponderance of the great. The ridgepole sags to the breaking point. It furthers one to have somewhere to go, success. The weight of the great is excessive. The load is too heavy for the strength of the supports. The ridgepole on which the whole roof rests sags to the breaking point because its supporting ends are too weak for the load they bear. It is an exceptional time and situation, therefore extraordinary measures are demanded. It is necessary to find a way of transition as quickly as possible and to take action. This promises success, for although the strong element is in excess, it is in the middle, that is, at the center of gravity, so that a revolution is not to be feared. Nothing is to be achieved by forcible measures. The problem must be solved by gentle penetration to the meaning of the situation. The changeover to other conditions will be successful. It demands a real superiority, therefore the time when the great preponderates is a momentous time. These hexagrams, like preponderant, this one, preponderance of the great, which gives you an image of the ridgepole sags to the breaking point.
I know, it sounds scary.
It sounds pretty scary. Oh my God, the roof is going to cave in. What can we do? As we've discovered in the last few weeks through the circumstances of our life, what first shows up as something alarming and possibly harmful and negative, in the end turns out to actually be
a complete blessing.
A complete blessing and propitious. So that's.
I don't understand the word propitious.
Propitious means it bodes well for the future. The outcome looks positive. Factors are tending towards a positive outcome. In this situation, I think it's referring both to us and also to Shane Bagai. With reference to us, it means that we have been accumulating virtue for a long time. By virtue, I mean we have been doing what is right. We have been following the will of the Creator to the best of our abilities. We've been accumulating knowledge, expertise, and quietly developing a grand vision that we felt would benefit not just us, but everyone, all creatures, great and small. And I believe that Shane Bagai is also in a situation where he has accumulated virtue, certainly accumulated great wealth, great assets, but perhaps not great influence in the world.
And that's his next step.
And for him,
to create a legacy.
Creating something which embodies his personal philosophy and is intended to benefit the good of all creatures, not just the two-leggeds, but the four-leggeds and the multi-leggeds and the ones without legs.
And the feathered ones.
And the feathered ones.
And the furry ones.
Mm-hmm. The prospects look good. You know, circumstances are beneficial for fostering progress.
What seemed to be a negative turned out to be a positive. What seemed to be a disaster being kicked off this farm propelled us into a new adventure. Or that's what it looks like right now.
Well,
of course, we still need to meet.
we haven't shook hands on this yet, but I've spoken with Shane personally. I had a very good feeling from my short conversation with him. Certainly, what we've been seeing in the last few weeks is is the finger of God in there. Just rearranging things so that everything lines up, so that the way forward becomes like, oh, that was obvious. The other thing I'm taking away from this hexagram is that this is a time of extraordinary energy when things are moving rapidly, and
You can say that again.
you know, it's kind of like the surfing the wave. If you're on the top, it's fine, but if you get under it, it could be unpleasant. And I feel like we're on top of the situation in the sense that that we've set forth our intentions repeatedly for a long period of time, and we have never stopped dreaming
And believing.
and believing that with God all things are possible. Mm-hmm.